Hi friends, welcome back to our channel. I am Varsha Tiwari. Today I have came to teach you English Supplementary of Unit 1. Lesson name is Owlie. Mom, Payal yelled in panic. Owlie gone. Where could she have gone? Payal, her mother asked crossly. She was right there sleeping in her cage a little while ago. Meaning, Payal yelled when she shouted, "Mom!" She worried and she shouted, "Mom! Owlie gone." Owlie is this owl. Owl's young one. Owlie. They named it Owlie. So she yelled and said, "Owlie gone" means she ran away. Owlie went away. Her mother said where she could have gone. Payal, like that her mother asked. Crossly, she asked with her angrily. She was sleeping in her cage right now, but she was not there. And Mom, the door to the garden is open. That ghost got Payal mother running into the room. Sure enough, there was no sign of Owlie. But she said to her mom, the door of the garden was open. There is no sign. So what happened? That Payal's mother Payal's mother heard and she started running to the room. Sure enough, there was no sign of Owlie. Really, there was no sign of Owlie. What was an owl doing in a house, you ask? Well, Payal, whom was all kinds of creatures. Actually, what was owl doing in her house? She asked with Payal. Well, Payal house, now we will go inside the lesson. Actually, Payal's house was all kinds of creatures. Creatures means all kinds of animal, mainly abandoned animal. Abandoned means left it without care. Lefting it without care. They left it. For example, in road there are dogs. They left one dog there, petted, and they left it. Like that dogs, what she did? She, Payal's mother, brought them to their home. Payal bought lost dogs, means the dogs which are lost, injured cat and baby bird that have fallen out of the cage to Payal's mother. She will take injured cat, dogs, lost cat and dog, babies of the birds which have fallen out of the cage to Payal's mother. It wasn't that they had a large farm or even a large house. Actually, they don't have any large farm. Farm means they don't have any large farm, or else they didn't have any even large house. They had small house. It just that everyone knew that the Payal's mom had a big heart. Everyone knows that Payal's mother was big-hearted woman. But even in a household used to such unexpected visitor, event have been memorable. They didn't expect it that an owl will come to their house. Shifali, Shafri Didi had just turned up one day carrying a carton. Actually, Didi is a Hindi word. Didi is a Hindi word. Didi is a Hindi word. Didi means sister. Didi means sister. Didi means sister. In Hindi, this word elder sister. Didi means elder sister. Didi meaning elder sister. Didi meaning means elder sister. Actually, Safna Didi. Her house one sister was there. She carried a cotton box. Cotton box is like this. Wait 1 minute, I'll show. Cotton box is one box. It will be one box. And when Payal's mother opened the carton, there was a smallest of owlets sitting on one corner. When her mother opened that box, wooden box, when her mother opened, she saw the smallest owlet. Owlet means young one of owl sitting in one corner, small corner. A small ball of brown and grey. A small ball of brown and grey. Payal's mother picked her up gently and placed in her lap. Payal's mother she took it up gently and placed her in her lap. Lap means muddy. Talking to her just as she could to the dog. How she did to the dogs and cats, like that she was talking to that owlie. She had never handled owls before. She have never handled means she never in her house never owls came, so she didn't handled any owls. So she was very careful not to be picked. Means she was very careful. We should not be picking up like that. When the owl got used to her and seemed relaxed enough, when the owl got used to her, she was relaxed. Payal mother placed her in a cage. Payal's mother placed her in a cage. There was always empty cage in Payal's house. Always in Payal's house, one empty cage will be there. If unexpected birds or came, she will just put in a cage. Just in a case a bird dropped in. So if there is in a case, she will put a bird in that. The baby owl climbed on the rod and settled herself. The baby owl, what did they? It climbed on the rod and settled herself. Mom, what shall we call her? Asked Payal, all excited. You choose a name, said her mother, smiling. Payal asked, like this, excitedly, she was very happy and she was asking, Mom, what shall we call her? Happily, she is asking. That time, her mother told, you choose the name by yourself. She's smiling. How about Owlie? Her Payal said, how about Owlie? Means we can call her Owlie how it is. So Owlie it was. So she put to her name Owlie. The name was settled, but there was a bigger problem. What does one feed an owl? The name was settled, but there was a bigger problem. What the owl we can give to owl to eat? Owls are hunter. Owls are hunter means they eat rat and snakes and frog. Owl eats non-veg. Like it is omnivorous, carnivorous. It eats rat, snakes and frog. It is carnivorous. And in Payal's house there was all vegetarians, even the dogs. Actually, in Payal's house no one eat non-veg. Even the dogs which eat non-veg also was a vegetarian. It is vegetables, rice, like that it could eat. Payal's mom was totally anti-meat. But now there was that owlie had came to stay. She was anti-meat. She was eating only no, veg. But there was an owlie had came to stay. But owl came to stay. She had to get over her dislike for meat. She don't like meat, but now she had to get for the owlie. There was another reason why the other days was Maribel. There was another reason which will be exciting. Okay, it was the first day that the meat was brought to the house. It was first day when Payal's mother brought meat to house. Payal got the number from her friend and called the meat shop to ask them delivery half a kilogram of minced meat to house. Meanwhile, Payal got a number. Payal called her friends and she got a number for meat shop and asked them to delivery a half kilo of minced meat. Means no skin, no bone, only the flesh part. In the small pieces. They put the meat before owlie. They put the meat before owlie. Of course, owlie didn't know what to do with it. The owlie didn't know what to do with the meat. She was just a baby. She was just a young one of an owl. She don't know what to do. She was small like us. How we are children like that, she was children. After all, this all happened after. If the mother owl had been there, she could have been softened the meat and soaked it down owl's throat. If her owl's mother, that owlie mother could be there with the owlie, what it could do, it could take the meat of any snake, frog, anything, it could clean it up with the tongue, with the beak, and it could put by her beak to the owlie's throat. Payal's mother decided she had to be mother owl. Payal mother decided that she will be now the our mother owl. Now she will be the mother owl. She picked up a tiny bit of meat with her right hand and snipped it up till it was soft. She took a bit of meat, tiny meat, and she pressed it, and she was checking whether it was soft or hard. Then with her left hand she pressed open owl's beak and served the food down. So in right hand she took the meat and in left hand she opened the owl's beak and she put the food down, means in the beak of the owlie. In a second, owlie fell off her perch on the floor of the cage. In a second, owlie fell down in the cage floor. The cage floor. In the cage floor. Cage floor, how it will be? Sometimes it will be like this. Like this, it could be, no? Like this. A cage like this only it could be, no? If for example a cage is there, means this is a cage. So this could be the cage. This could be the cage floor. Cage is there, means cage floor. It will be only be the cage floor. This is a cage floor. See, this is a cage floor. Where I have put in the arrow, that is the cage floor. Okay. And what she fell off the cave floor. This is only the cave floor where I have put in the arrow. Okay, what happened? Suddenly next what happened? On the floor of the cage. She lay on her back of the floor of the cage with her feet up in the air. She lay back. She laid back, and next what she did? She laid back and then she put her leg up. Owlie. Mom, Payal cried. You have killed her. Payal cried. Mom, you have killed her. Means you killed the owlie like that. Payal mom was equally angry. Oh, she said. Oh, what I have done? What have I done? Me. When Payal said you have killed the owlie, that time what happened? Payal mother shouted, oh, what I have done? Like that. The poor little bird, after Payal and her mother had finished crying and hugging each other, they started talking bravely about where to bury owlie. After Payal, mother and Payal have finished crying, means they started crying both. When they both finished crying, they was talking bravely. They both were talking bravely. Little braveness they got, and they started talking where to bury the owlie. Where to bury means we have, if any birds, animals are done, dead means we will bury the sand in sand and we will bury them. Just then, owlie opened one eye and then the other. Just then, when they talked about the burying of owlie, see 1 minute, see how she is. See here. See how she is. See here. How the owlie is laying on the cage floor and how she is dying like. Okay, friends. See here how the owl is dead. The picture is not clear given in the book. So see how the owlie is dead on the cage of the. See how it have dead. See how it have. And then she opened her other eye. First she opened one eye, then she opened her another eye. Just she got up on her feet, and then she stand up on her feet and quickly climbed up the bridge. And quickly she climbed up that in cage and all, the hanging something will be there. When pregnant like this, it will be straightly. It is the line is crossed like this straight. It will be a cage is there means it will be straight like this straightly it will be. And here the what did it happen? Here the owlie sat. This is cage floor, and what happened? This cage floor is there, the cage is there, and at the settlement, the owlie, when she opened her eyes, and then she went up the perch, and in the beginning, Payal learned later that falling on her back and pretending to be dead was defending herself against danger. Then Payal learned that owlie felt on her back and pretending means protecting and acting to defense. To for example, I am owl is there with me. If it is first day, if I'm feeding her, what she will think? She is making me to dead. So she will be defending me. Like in war, what happened? We will protect ourselves from danger. Like in tsunami, flood. These and all things. But the owlie did not know that then. But she don't know that her mother was feeding. Payal's mother was feeding. This is Payal, this is her mother. So that was the first day for owlie at home. In the beginning, owlie had to be forced to eat. In the beginning, owlie had to be forced to eat. That was mom's job. Payal's mother's job was that to feed her, but owlie soon realized that if a hand came forward to her neck foot, then owlie realized that if a hand came forward means they are giving us food. Her mouth could open automatically when she could put her hands forward like this, Wait. I will show you arrow. In arrow sign, you see, for examples. If this arrow is going forward, if that owlie will open her beak. That she could open her beak. Beak could snap around what was offer. Her beak will be ready. What was the offer for food? Only owlie found it difficulty to open her when she was beginning offered food. When she was offered food, she was little difficulty for her to open and could try to take a bit out of any hand that gave her way. And then what she could try? She tried to take a bit. If any hand came, she could try it. If any hand's foot is there, she could try. If it is forwarding to out, she could try to take it. This meant lot of bitten finger for Payal and her mother. When Payal and her mother would feed them, know that feed the owlie, that time what happens? The owl could bite many times. Their fingers could be bitten. Reading up more about owls and their habit, Payal discovered that the owl was a spotted owlet. Meaning, reading Moore's book about owls and their habit, Payal discovered that owlie was a spotted owlet. Means she had the tropically grey brown coat, heavy spotted with white purple face. Spotted means, see, for example, in our body. For example, this is our owl's body. It will be like this small, like this spotted in their body. It was white, spotted. Like this spotted, this red line is there. No, I'm showing that is also spotted. This is also spotted. Like this spotted. And then spotted with white purple face. Yellow eyes and with white neck bone. Yellow eye means yellow color eye, and then neck was brown, which looked like a ribbon. Which look like a ribbon. Girls will tie in their hair while going school. Their hair will be big. Payal decided soon. Payal took over the job of looking after owl. Payal decided that she will look after the owlie, feeding, giving bath, and playing with it like that. She decided she was the cage. She saw the cage was cleaned every day. She filled the water bowl. One water bowl they will keep. She filled it up. Once owlie began to eat by herself. Owlie began to eat by herself. Payal too could feed her. Payal also will feed her, and it could also eat her. The owlie also could eat by herself. She loved the way owlie took a piece of raw meat from her hand. Payal was loving that the owlie took a piece of raw meat from her hands. During the day, Payal kept the cage covered. During the day, the owl cannot be able to see. So during the day the owls will sleep, and during night it won't sleep. What happened? The owl, during the daytime, Payal could cover the cage with cloths that it won't fall on sunlight. Sunlight should not fall on it. Owls are night birds, I told before. So they slept during the day. At night, when owls are active. Owls are active at night, but they will sleep at day. Payal took off the cover. When night could come, she will took off the cover. When day will come, she will put cover. Means bed sheets. Soon they slept during. Soon they had decided that let owlie fly away once she had grown bigger. So Payal and her mom decided she will let the owl when it could grow bigger. But that meant that she had to learn to fly. That means she had to learn to fly. No, the owlie have to learn to fly. If it is in the cage, how it will be flying? To do that, owlie had to be in a closed room. To do that, her mother and Payal and her mother thought that they will keep the owlie in a closed room. Closed room. After much discussion, Owlie's cage was shifted to the library. It was a lovely room with two doors. The library was very lovely with two doors, one outside, one backside to garden. One which led to the rest of the house and other onto garden. One will be to the house side, one will be to garden. It was also Payal's favorite room. It had tall bookshelves, and she spent hours there reading all kinds of books. Payal spent more hours in that room by reading all the kinds of books. The bookshelves also had lot of little hankies. Hankies means handkerchief. Her mother loved pretty things. Her mother also loved pretty things and displayed them her long ago with the books. She displayed them in the books, like so there was beautiful of piece of pottery means pot dolls, and wherever they have traveled and caused wooden, clay, animals and birds around the world. If they have gone to any place, what they will do, they will buy clay birds and wooden animals like that. They will buy and they will keep. Once Owlie was moved to the library, strict rules were laid down for everyone in the house. Once when Owlie went to the room, a strict rules was laid for everyone. The two doors were never to left open. The two doors never left to open, not another day, not in a night. Every night, Payal could leave the cage open, door open, and put a plate of mincemeat on the top of the cage. Every night, Payal could open the cage and she could keep food, water. So that when owlie fly on the cage, she could also learn to find her food. When owlie could fly, she could also find her food. Instantly, Payal could shut the cage door every morning when she popped to say hello to owlie before going to school. In night she will open the cage door, not both doors she won't open, only cage door she will open, and she will close it every morning when she will pop to say hello out to owlie while before she goes to school. She could always find owlie on a patch inside the cage. I told patch is this line. Patch means like this straight line in the cage. Okay, patch. And she could find her on the patch. Inside the cage, through the cage door was still open. If the door could be open also, the owlie will be inside on the patch only. Here only it will be sitting. But Payal knew owlie was flying. Because she found bit of meats all over the room. Payal know that owlie was flying, so she found it. How she found it? Since she saw many numbers of big pieces of meat. Big pieces of meat was all over the room. After some time, Payal stopped shutting the door cage during the day. After sometimes what happened? After a few days after, Payal she will open the door at night, but she won't shut it in the morning also, even through the day. After all, people seldom went into the room all day. After that, every people could go into the room. And owlie was always asleep. Owlie was always asleep, means always she could be sleeping. So their symptom little point. Okay, every day when Payal come back from school, the first thing she did to peep into the library. Every day when Payal could come back from school, the first thing she did to peep means looking secretly. Secretly, she could look in the library. Usually, she could find owlie fast asleep on her perch. Always, she could find owlie was sleeping on this perch, on the cage of the perch. But today, it was different. But today, she found different. The cage was empty and there was no sign of owlie. The cage was empty and there was no sign of owlie. And the door to the garden was open. And the door to the garden was open. Mom, Payal called. Mom, who let the garden door open? How we will find owlie now? Don't panic, said Mom. She told the garden door is open. How we will find the owlie? Don't panic, said Mom. She must be somewhere around. They shut the garden door and looked in every corner of the room. They looked every corner of the room, shuttered the door to the garden. Behind doors, on the top of the tall bookshelves, in every nook and cupboard, no owlie. They checked all rooms. And then they checked. Tear ran down Payal's cheek. They had wanted owlie to fly away, but not so soon. They wanted the owlie to fly, but not so soon. She was still so small. How could she hunt for the food? What if a kite or eagle knocked down her? If kite or eagle could take down her, means what she will do? Finally, Mom said, well, now Owlie was gone. We may as well leave the doors open and the air the room, wiping her tears. Pile's mom said, well, now Owlie has gone. We have to leave the door open. We can open the doors and the air will come into the room, wiping her tears. Pile threw open the door to the room. She hoped secretly that Owlie could come in if the door was kept open. She thought if the door could be kept open, Owlie could come. Mom left the room to go to the afternoon errand. When she came back a couple of hours later, Pyle was sitting gazing mournfully at Owlie's cage. Why don't you find yourself a good book to read? Pyle was crying and sitting. Her mom said, why you find yourself a good book to read? Mom asked. She knew that the reading a book was the only way Pyle could cheer up. When her mom knew only one way, if Pyle could read books, she will be happy. When Pyle was sad, she always read book. When Pyle could be sad, she could always read book. Okay, signed Pyle's and started looking for the book she was not read. Means Pyle noticed. Pyle started searching books. She noticed a curious on her shelf that she have never noticed before. So she found herself that she was never looked at. Hello, where did this one came from? She said hello and where it came from. She wondered of herself. Where did her mother get the owl from? Where her mother get the owl from? She was about to pick it up. When the courier opened one eye. It was Owlie pretending to be curious. Mom, bowed Pyle. The Owlie was in that shelf. She's back. Don't you ever give me a fright that like that again. She scolded the owl as she picked her back into the cage. Pyle scores the later the Owlie smit back. She probably did. This lesson is written by Vijay's Ghost. Thank you, friends. Please like, share, and subscribe our channel.